Hi there! It's time to exercise what we just learned about the time and the Pyplot modules. Create a program to help the user type faster. Give him a word and ask him to write it 5 times. At each time, check how many seconds it took the user to type the word. At the end of 5 rounds, show how many mistakes were made and print a chart to show the user's evolution. Good luck, and when you're finished, go back here to see the solution. So the first thing we need to do is import the modules we need for this exercise. So Matplotlib.Pyplot and time. Since we're gonna have to do a chart with the times, we know we're gonna need a list of the times. So let's create one. So times equals an empty list. Let's also create a variable to store the number of mistakes. So now we're ready to start our program. So let's tell the user what this is about. This program will help you type faster. You have to type the word programming as fast as you can for 5 times. If you want, you can choose a different word. Now let's create an input, just so the user has to press enter before we start getting the times. So let's write press enter to continue. We don't want to get anything from this input, so we don't need to create a variable. Now the first thing we're going to do is create a while loop. And let's get the length of the times list. At this moment, it is an empty list, so its length is 0. So while len times is less than 5, let's do t.time to get the start time as a timestamp, which we know is the number of seconds since the epoch. Now let's create a variable for the word. We are only creating a variable because we want to test if the user made a mistake or not. Otherwise, we would just need to have an input. Let's write type the word. Now, after he finishes, let's get the end time with t.time again. And now time elapsed, it's going to be end minus start. So we would have the number of seconds taken to write the word. Now, at each iteration of this loop, we are going to send the time elapsed to the times list. So times dot append time elapsed. We should also check if a mistake was made. So if word, let's convert it to lowercase so we don't have problems if the user uses some capital letters. So word.lower. If this is not equal to programming, then we are going to do mistakes equals mistakes plus 1. So now we are ready to end this loop. So after 5 times, the first thing we're going to do is print how many mistakes were made. So let's write you made. Then let's concatenate with the number of mistakes converted to string. Now let's print. Now let's see your evolution. And then instead of showing the chart immediately, let's wait 3 seconds so the user can read these sentences. So t.sleep 3. Now let's create a list for the attempts, which is going to be the x-axis. For the y-axis, we can just use our times list. Now let's do plt.plot with our x and y variables and plt.show. And let's see if this is working. Let's save it and press F5 to run it. So this is not starting until we hit enter. This is because we use the input. Let's make a mistake here. And it's telling me that I made one mistake. I can see a problem with this as here, which we can solve just by putting it inside parentheses. So it doesn't matter if it's one mistake or more than one mistake. And now we also have an error because I just typed plot instead of plt. So it's not plot, it's plt. And now let's just put it inside parentheses. And this is going to be better. Let's run it again. Let's make one mistake here. Now I made one mistake. It waited 3 seconds and now it's showing me the evolution, which is really cool. But now let's make this a bit better. Instead of having integers for the x-axis, let's create a list called legend. And let's use strings so we don't have those 1.5, 2.5 in between. So plt.xticks, the arguments are x and legend. Let's also create x and y labels. So plt.ylabel, which is going to be the time in seconds. Let's also do the x label, which is going to be the number of attempts. Now let's just create a title for this chart, which can be your typing evolution. I think this will be much better. So let's save it and press F5 to run. Now I made 0 mistakes, and here I can see my evolution. So now this is a little better. We have a chart with a title, we have a label for the y-axis, and a label for the x-axis. We also transform the values into strings, so we don't have those numbers in between. So this was the solution for this exercise. I hope you enjoyed doing it, and if you have any questions, you can leave it in the Q&A section. I'll see you in the next video.